Hello, gentlemen. Juan Sepulveda here from the Gentleman's Brotherhood. I just wanted to say hello for a moment. I wanted to also explore a couple of ideas that I've been thinking about, and I was hoping that you find them useful. For those of you who might not know me, my name is Juan Sepulveda. I am the host of the Gentleman's Brotherhood, and I come to you because right now, obviously, we're going through some very difficult times. We're going through some difficult moments, and I wanted to share some words of encouragement with you. First of all, how are you doing? If you're doing well, please give me some thumbs up. I'll really, from the bottom of my heart, I really hope that you're doing very well. I have to report that we are doing very well here in the Sepulveda Estates, as I like to call them. And we recognize that times are difficult for a lot of people. And I wanted to take this moment to share a couple of ideas with you. And I hope that they resonate with you. I want to say hello to those who are watching live. We have Brother Sam Ashley here with us. Michael St. Laurent, thank you so much for joining me. And I wanted to title this little presentation, Bad Times Are Good Times Too, ... Because I want to share with you 4 things that came to mind that can help you turn some of these bad times into positive ones. I also want to say hello to my friend Jose Luis Oropesa, who was partly the inspiration for me to come and join you live. He's put together a great community. If you like uplifting messages that can help you move to the next step in your life, in your business, in your relationships, I definitely encourage you to go check him out. Jose Luis Oropesa on Facebook. I'll share a link in the comments later on. But ways in which you can share or in which you can actually turn bad times into good ones. And the first one is to finish incompletes. What I mean by this is look around you in your personal life, at home, at work. Is this a good time for you to take some of these neglected projects, some of these things that you've put on pause for a while that have been missing your attention? This may be a good moment to actually come into them full force and actually complete them. One thing that contributes many times to the way in which we may feel, sometimes you may feel a little bit burdened or depressed or anxious, and many times it has to do with some of the things that are pending. Perhaps you can identify with a moment. Let's say you come into work, you sit by your desk and start working, and you notice that it is chaos. It's pure madness, right? And it's a project here, a project there, an incomplete here, incomplete there. One time that you can bring some satisfaction to your life or feel some sense of completion or of achievement is to take some of those incompletes that are surrounding you and complete them. And I'll give you an example. Right now here in my studio, you may not notice much of a difference behind me, but this is approximately 300 square feet of my home where I have my in-home studio. And this is space that I use for painting, for working in my computer, doing my designs and different things. I also package some of the orders that people place. I do that here. So there are some shared areas of task, right? This place was a nightmare. Right before the stay-at-home orders came in, this place was a complete madhouse. And the rest of my house is pretty orderly. It's very clean, very neat. Everything is very organized. But this room here was one of those incompletes that kept on shouting at me, "Hey, when are you going to do something here?" So fortunately, I was inspired by some of the other projects that we had at home. And we actually started tackling some of the mess that we had here. So I'm going through a full refurbishing of this space where I'm even painting, changing things around, building custom cabinetry for it. So I'll share some pictures of it with you later. But going back to the point, finishing it completes. This may be a great opportunity for you to actually tackle some of those things that have been put in the back burner. If you have a few extra hours that you've saved from your commute, Because if you travel for work, I'm sure that you have at least 1 hour per day in your pocket that you didn't have before. Am I right about that? Show me some love if that resonates with you. So, granted, you need your time to sit back and watch some Netflix, watch some Hulu, some Disney Plus, or find different things to do. But if you took only half of the time that you saved in your commute and you dedicate it to finishing some of this incomplete, I guarantee you that your heart is going to thank you. The second point I wanted to share with you of how you can take bad times and make them into good times is to make yourself stronger. And here are two areas specifically that I want to touch on today. And I want to say hello to Brother Josker Porschke and Enrique Wiederman, who is spending some time here with us. It's good to see you. Hopefully, after the social distancing goes away, I get to see you guys in person. So, making yourself stronger. There are two ways that I wanted to emphasize. There's many ways in which you can strengthen yourself. By the way, I just noticed that I'm missing a little something back there in my wall. I got to figure out why I knocked that down. Anyway, making yourself strong physically. Making yourself strong physically. How? By making sure that the time that you're spending at home in seclusion, away from other people, that at least a portion of it involves some physical activity. And I know some of you are fond of doing resistance training, some free weights, some, what you call this other one, CrossFit, different kinds of exercises. But those are not the only physical exercises that you can deal with. Perhaps if you have some garage work, if there is some work that you need to do in the yard, this could be part of your physical training. The walking about, the doing some more forceful work can also serve to increase your cardiovascular health, to increase some of your resistance training. So this is a good time for you to take some of these tasks that you have postponed that may have some sort of physical component to it and take care of those. This is good for you in two reasons. First of all, of course, you want to incorporate some kind of exercise in your daily routine because this helps build your muscle, helps build your resistance, your stamina, all these things that are going to make you healthy in the long run. But also they have a bonus effect. It's that they'll help you be or have a clearer mind. Whenever you are able to incorporate exercise into your life, you're able to free up some of those endorphins that actually make you feel good, as well as you're able to basically feed your mind, which leads me to the second point of making yourself stronger. Many of us are going to go through some difficulties in the coming months, financially, from our careers perspectives, and building a strong mentality, building a strong way of facing these difficulties is going to be crucial. As men in our lives, I recognize that we have a responsibility to lead in a certain way. And if we are physically fit as well as mentally fit, we're going to be able to more effectively lead the people that look up to us. I'll give you my example. I recognize that we are going to have some difficulties, not as a family, but as a country. We're going to have some financial difficulties coming up. The level of unemployment in this country is definitely one of those bad news that keeps on flashing in front of us anytime we go into social media or go into the news to try to find out what's happening. But there are aspects of our life that we can control, and there are other aspects of our life of which we have no control. And we have been bombarded with negative news. And granted, it's important for us to be up to date with what's happening out there in the world, but many of the things that are happening out there we have very little control over them. So building a strong mentality that reminds you, where is the area of my life that I can really have some impact? who are the people in my life that I can have a positive impact upon? And if we build that strong way of looking at what is it that I have some sort of um, dominion over, what is it that I can affect, what is it that I can change, then we'll have a healthier, stronger mentality. I would love for you to discuss this in the comment sections after we're done so that you can share some of the areas in which you find that you can build more strength, because we have an amazing community here in the Gentleman's Brotherhood and we can learn from one another. Some of you may have gone through some similar situation in the past. For example, those of us who went through the financial difficulties that came through the recession of 2008. How did we deal with it? And we'll be able to share with some new members of the community that perhaps don't know where they should spend their time. What are the aspects of their life they should worry about or they should be focusing their energy on? Number 3 is that we can build stronger leadership. In this moment of difficulties, we can actually be stronger leaders. First, by keeping control of our emotions, of our expressions, of the ways in which we are making decisions. For example, I have 2 young ones, 10 years old and 8 years old. And they look up to me. They feed off of my energy. If I take this moment of difficulty and I am frantic in my response to it, I'm not setting a good example for them to follow. And you may not know this or you may not be aware of this, but children are very, very attentive. They pay very close attention to the level of energy that you display. And if your level of energy in response to the difficulties that are coming about is one of lack of control, it's one of emotional response, then perhaps that's the example that they are going to follow. So my encouragement to you is that you have, that you're mindful as to how you're responding to the current crisis, that you are taking the precautions necessary to keep yourself and your family healthy and strong, but that you're not going overboard or you're not coming across as out of control or as hysterical, because that's only going to basically feed any kind of insecurity that they may have. And this is a very important moment for us to lead by example in the way that we employ our emotions, the way that we employ our time, and how productive and effective we are with dealing with things. I want to say hello to Derek Montes, Brian Barry, James Bonine, John Buckler. Thank you so much for being a part of the Gentleman's Brotherhood and for sharing your examples and joining me in this conversation. The fourth and final point I wanted to bring up to you is to prepare for the future. There are areas in your life of which you have control that you can make the right decisions to move forward in them, to prosper, to become stronger, to become more resilient, to become more alert or more present. What are you in need of so that you can have a better tomorrow? Now, I'm not a financial expert, but here in the Gentleman's Brotherhood, I know we have a lot of brothers who are very strong in their financial education. If you have any question whatsoever from that you want addressed, I encourage you to actually dig into this community that we've created and ask for the right questions. Ask for some advice. If you find some link from a reputable source that can help other gentlemen in this community to build a stronger foundation for their financial future, please share it. We're here to help one another. And I hope that some of these words have helped you, have given you some pause for thought, giving you some ideas of how you can actually move forward and prepare for the future. For some of you, we've already seen the worst of it. For others, the worst is yet to come. And I'm not trying to be negative in the presentation that I'm giving, but we have to be realistic. For some people out there, financial trouble is going to come about, and how we react to it, how we build our resilience is going to have a great impact on not just how we go through this crisis, but how we come out on the other side. So again, to touch up on some of the things that we talked about today, how can we turn bad times into good times, or how are bad times good for what? Number one, to finish the incompletes. Take some of your day to finish some of those things that you've been postponing, some of the things that you've been procrastinating on, some things that have been just sitting in the back burner for a while. This may be a good time for you to tackle them because they'll free up some of this mental burden that we carry. I'm sure you've noticed if you delay something long enough, it will come a time where it's just they're looming upon you and creating unnecessary problems. Number two, make yourself stronger. There are many ways in which you can make yourself physically stronger during these times and also mentally stronger. Number three, become a stronger leader. We have people that depend on us. We have people that are constantly observing us. And we owe it to them and to ourselves to be the best version of ourselves possible so that we can lead them in times of trouble. If we fail the people that depend on us today, we will have an incredibly difficult time in the future gaining their respect and their attention. And finally, prepare for the future, whether it's emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. All of these are areas of our lives that we can prepare better for, but we need to keep a level mind. We need to keep an even keel and lean on the support of the brothers that surround us. So I encourage you to continue this conversation with the gentlemen that are part of the Gentlemen's Brotherhood. We have a vast number of men here who are experts in their field, in finances, in relationships, in business, in spirituality, whatever it is, an area that you feel you need preparedness for the future. I encourage you to seek for that guidance here in the Gentlemen's Brotherhood. So if you have any questions, any comments that you want to share with us, please do so in the comments section. I'm here for your service. I hope that some of these words have resonated with you and encourage you to come out on the other end stronger and wiser. So until next time, thank you so much for your time. I wish you courage and courtesy. I see you soon.